Did you know you have the power to change your life? It all depends on your beliefs. If you have limiting beliefs, you limit yourself. I'm Becky Beach, and I'm here to help you overcome your limiting beliefs so you can design your dream life. This is the Becky Beach Show. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Becky Beach Show. I'm Becky Beach, and today's guest is Ruben Garcia. He's into real estate investing, and he's also done RV traveling with his family. Like, he's really interesting. I met him at FinCon, and it was like awesome. He's such a great personality. I'm just so excited to have him on today's show.
Hey,
So tell us about yourself, Ruben. Like, what makes you a big star?
wow, a big star. I may just be a shooting star. You may just see me for a second and then I'm gone. But so what do I do, right? Now what I do is real estate. So we do what we call real estate CIA. So we do coaching and consulting in real estate. We do the investing side of the real estate in terms of short-term rentals, which are like Airbnbs, long-term rentals, which looks like we'll put another one under contract this week. And an agent side of the business is the CIA, the A. And we have about 170 agents in 16 states or so selling real estate for us
That's
or with us.
amazing.
Yeah.
So you also do Airbnbs, like how would a mom that's listening, how would she get started with Airbnb? Like, could she rent out like a room in her home, or she need a whole property? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, so that would depend on what her goals are. So there's a few set of goals that maybe that person may be reaching for. If it's passive income, that's a great way to start into the passive income world. If it's to grow your wealth through equity in terms of net worth, that's a great way of getting into that. But one of the first things you want to do is one, does it fit your goal? Let's just say it fits that person's goal for both cash flow
Mm-hmm.
and equity for net worth, and it just fits what they're trying to do. Perfect. One of the first things you would want to do is actually go to an investor meetup, probably in your area, meet somebody, talk to somebody, see
Mm-hmm.
what is doing in that market, because in our market it's saturated now. So I would hate for them to get into short-term rentals only to run into a saturated market. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, meet some of the investors who are actually doing it, pick their brain a little bit, see what they're doing, see what they're watching out for before actually going into the field. One of the best things you could do is get a mentor. And then just a little hacks after that. There's a website called AirDNA, and you might want to check that out because that will tell you what the market is producing in terms of daily rates, cash flow, who are the best rental management companies, all of that. You could do a lot of your research up front.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, what was the site again? So I'll make sure I put in the show
Yeah,
notes.
yeah. Air, like Airbnb, Air DNA.
DNA. Oh, Air DNA, like a DNA. That's cool. Air
Hmm.
DNA.
Yeah. So our manager looks at that and decides, how many units are in our market. Are we oversaturated? Are we not? What are the daily rates going to look like? Are we competitive? Are we not? So that's a good little tool that you just look and see what the market's already doing while going to investor meetups. And that's a great way to get started without necessarily putting up the risk of your own money.
Oh, yes. Like, how would like a mom, like, how would they be protected, against, maybe somebody come in their house when they're not there, and like may steal something? Like, is there any protection for that? I always wondered.
Well, that happens, right? And that's kind of part of the process is, so all our Airbnbs are a different property. We're not renting out our own rooms or anything like that. So they're away from us. There's a lot of upfront due diligence before somebody can actually rent an Airbnb or a Verbo or short-term rental, which helps. We also do have a few things. We have ring cameras, so you can see who's going in and going out. Did they lie? Is there really a party coming in, or is there not? Um,
A big
we
party
can.
and smash all your stuff.
And that's happened before. So that's a good one. And then also, we used to be with a manager that would put in carbon dioxide detectors in terms of figuring out how many bodies were actually in the house as well. Through no video cameras and nothing like that, but they can find that out. But things do get stolen, unfortunately. It's something you got to write off at the end of the year, like that was a loss.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would almost so there's a few things, right? So you have long-term rentals. The home isn't necessarily going to have like granite countertops, stainless steel, everything beautiful, gorgeous backsplash, because these long-term renters, they can they just kind of just use the property sometimes. Some are fantastic, some aren't, right? So kind of a lower quality type of unit. Let's do a flip. Now, a flip, you want the most value out of it. So when you go
Hmm.
into it, you're going to put a lot of stuff in there and all that. And then so you really want the stainless steel, the countertops, the
Yeah,
spec.
yeah.
So short-term rental is somewhere in the middle. So you know people are going to go in there and steal and slight destroy things, and you know that that's going to happen. But you also want the appeal for them to choose your unit over someone else's unit. So it's somewhere in the middle, and it's a constant. What do we need to do in this particular home in this particular neighborhood? But unfortunately, it's kind of part of the game. Things are going to get stolen.
Oh yeah, yes. We actually rented an Airbnb in North Carolina. We do it every summer. Like we did it last year the second time. And it's this lady, she's like a retired, and she pays for her taxes by renting her house out. Like she does it like every summer, and it pays her whole taxes for the whole year. Like the house is paid off. So you recommend this for also retirees to get started doing it?
Yeah, it's a great way. So are you talking about top sale?
Oh yeah, yes, and yeah,
Yeah,
you
we talked
remember?
about that.
Yeah, yeah, we had a good
Yeah,
conversation about that. Yeah, yeah, she has her house rented out. It's a beautiful, beautiful home, and it's totally paid off. It's probably worth like several millions of dollars, and that's her actual house. And she rents it out to people, so she trusts. Like she, of course, she takes her jewelry with her, and she doesn't leave anything very valuable, But there's still
right.
stuff that could be broken, and because we had all these kids over.
Well, yeah, and at some, just like the cruise liners do, you could price out certain things, and so maybe, and I won't ask you, but maybe the daily rates at that unit are a lot higher, or it doesn't necessarily attract the type of person who's going to go in and maybe destroy the place, right? They may understand the value of the dollar a little bit more, and so they're not
Mhm.
going to go in there and do that. But for again, I would have to point to, is it their goal? Like for us, yeah, retire. Yeah, we would love to do the short term road because we would love to have something up north and something in the south and do the snowbird thing, and we'll rent out this one while we're up there. We'll rent out this one while we're down here. I think it's great. I mean, like I said, it does build in cash flow. So you do. So if you look at money right now, right, money's dying. And it's dying fast. It's like 11% inflation or something right now. So if you get this money and you dump it into an asset, well, now you're going to have a higher return on your money versus the
Mhm.
bank account, which is the cash flow of a short-term rental. Also, it's going to help with your equity in terms of your net worth. So yeah, if you're going to retire and you want some, in my mind, this is not financial advice, of course, but putting your money into an asset that's going to kick off cash and grow in value is a great investment, even as a retiree.
That is just so interesting because was we have like $30,000 in savings as like liquid cash in our bank account. So you think that's like is that a bad mistake? Like, should I invest some of that? What would you think?
That's a great question. So what we look at is about a 6 month reserve. If we can do 6 month on, let's say 20,000, this is pure example, 20,000, 6 months, we're good to go. That extra 10,000, yeah, for us, we wouldn't keep it in the bank. What can we do with that 10,000? Grow it to 15, grow it to 20, whatever that might be. Anything above that 20,000 mark, what asset can we put it in that has a higher rate of return and has higher growth rates versus just keeping it in the bank? Because at some point, you have to find what that line is for you for that savings account. For us, 6 months, anything above that, we got to have a return on it or it's dying.
Oh yeah, yeah. So tell me about like your business. Like, what exactly do you do, and how'd you get started?
Yeah, so well, I got started because I was working at UPS. I was there for about 12 years. Um, and I was a single father. So I was like, man, I don't ever see my daughter during Christmas
Oh yeah, yeah.
because UPS.
I
And
relate so much.
yeah, I bet. And eventually I was just like, you know what? There's a quote out there that says, don't complain about what you tolerate. And I was like, well, I could make a change. So I started to look at something that I could do outside of UPS that would bring in the same amount of income of a UPS driver, which in our market was about $1,000 a month. Some up, some down, just depends. But approximate average of 1,000. I said, man, if I could bring in 4 grand, I could quit. And so people said I'd be good at selling things. So I say, man, if I'm gonna sell something, I might as well sell like the biggest thing I could think of, which is a house. And so
Yeah, yeah.
I did I did not love real estate. I didn't fall in love with it. I didn't love it and fall into real estate. Eventually I have, but it was a means out of my current situation. And I just went in crazy and became rookie of the year that year and struggled like crazy and just did what I had to do. And then finally made a position where I could quit UPS after 12 years there. But that's really what got me started in real estate.
That's amazing. So that way so you have more time with your daughter now. That you say you have a single father of a daughter.
Yeah, I raised her since she was 3 weeks old. So that was kind of tough.
Oh, oh, wow. See, oh my goodness.
Hmm.
Oh, you're just such a like an inspiration, that you're able to do that, and take care of your young daughter this whole time, yourself. That must have been difficult.
Yeah, I've got married when she was probably, oh, I want to say 9 years old. I could be off a year or so, but about 9 years old. So yeah, it was tough, but I also believe that it was just something. If I just stayed consistent with it, with real estate, we were going to make it. We were going to do fine, but I could not get in my own way and decide that I could never do it or never make it and convince myself of that because the world was already trying to convince me of that, So I had to have that conversation with myself on a daily basis. I'm telling you, my house, I had like all the this is my wife's office. But in the rest of the house in my old house, all the clocks I wrote time to get to work on it. So
Hmm.
didn't matter what time it was, I had to always think like, oh, I got to get us out of this situation. I had all these signs up, all these affirmations up, a vision board. I had a whiteboard drilled into my wall in my bedroom with all my goal and actual. Every turn I took was reminding me, you have to do more to get out of your current situation. So I had
Hmm.
to convince myself of that.
That is such a wonderful thing to say because mindset is everything. Like I constantly tell my listeners, I'm sure if you've listened to this podcast before, you've heard about my mindset journey because I used to think I was worthless. Like I thought I was stupid, fat, and ugly. My mother would tell me,
Oh,
and I was
oh,
just had no
what?
self esteem. It was terrible.
That, yeah, no, that sucks. But what's cool is that you became one, a teacher of yourself to remind you of your self-worth, but now you've built a platform to teach others and to inspire others and to help others move forward. So there's a lot of good that can come out of such a negative situation as well. I think you're living that.
Oh yeah, I really like what you said about putting like I get one of those whiteboards and just like writing some positive affirmations. And then when you come by a mirror, like maybe talking like positive stuff to yourself, it's all building up yourself because the world's just gonna tear you down. I'm sure you know this, Ruben. The world's just gonna tear you down, like they don't care about you, but you gotta care about yourself and you gotta put yourself out there and have like a positive mindset and outlook and you can do anything like and you're a testament to that because you have done this and now look at you like you're doing amazing.
We're still moving for sure. We're still, you know, building different levels to this because with different levels, there's new challenges and different challenges. We're still growing, and like I tell people, I only sit on the shoulder of giants because I learn from people like you. I learn from people that from FinCon. I learn from people, other mentors, like something I mentioned in the beginning of this, find a mentor. And so the things that we're accomplishing, I'm learning from someone else. So I'm not the smart guy. I'm just learning from others and then taking action on what I've heard. So I'm really, truly just sitting on the shoulder of giants, ones who have done this before.
Oh well, yeah, well, don't cut yourself short. You're doing great. But what would you tell like a father that's listening that he's working this dead end job and he's barely making ends meet, and like he's like wonder if he can do this too? What would you say to him?
Well, I would have him evaluate his current situation and get real with it. And say, so what I did before I quit, and this will help this person. And this is simple, maybe not easy, but it's simple. So sit down with yourself, by yourself, at the kitchen table, wherever you got to be. Draw a line down a piece of paper, write pros on one side, cons on the other, and you put a pros and cons list of what it looks like for you to stay with that company and what it looks like to leave that company. When I did that, the pros were 401k, the best insurance I've ever had, and I'm a single father and my kid needs insurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
UPS has good insurance. It's a
Oh
big
man,
company. Yeah.
so good. I don't know what it is now. I've been gone for about 7 years, but when I was there, for sure. guaranteed way to make, because I structured everything to retire a millionaire there. But the cons, not there for my daughter, not there
Mhm.
to be a father,
Yeah.
and just all. So I think the pros even outweighed the cons on terms of like itemized all the way down for staying at UPS, but the weight, the feeling of the cons were too heavy and literally outweighed. Although the list was longer on pros, it outweighed the pros. So for that father who's sitting there, you have to be more real with yourself than you've ever done before. Get down and dirty, pros and cons of leaving and staying. And at that point, when you make a decision, you have to stick to that decision. And here's me, right? Like I was, the single father working at UPS, doing real estate, doing school, and all for about 10 months. So I had people at my office that I was with buy me toothpicks, kind of joking, like to hold my eyelids open because I was getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night for 10 months. But I didn't care.
Hmm.
You got to be willing to put in that work. But that's because I committed. I was going to make it out no matter what. And sleep, what is sleep? Sleep's not going to get in the way of me getting to where, what is that? I'll have time. I'll have time. So for that father, you will have time. You just have to commit after doing the pros and cons list, and maybe you tape that sucker up in your bedroom and as a reminder why you're doing this.
Oh, yeah, great idea. So how could a father get started or a mother listening? Like, how could they get started with this? Like, how much money do they need?
That's what's great about this. The barrier to entry into real estate with a license is not that high. Um, I think when I did it, it was like $600 for a 90-hour course, and that was it.
Hmm.
You had to take your state and national exams after that, and I failed the state and national after I passed the class 3 times. So, but I was committed. I was like, it's going to happen. So the price of getting a real estate license has increased ever since the pandemic. There was a lot of people that were going for their license. So let's say it's double. Let's say it's $1,200. Your first commission will pay for that. And oh, by the way, you paying for your license, you paying the gas to go there, you paying for food, all a write off. No financial advice, write off, because
Hmm.
you're building your business. So that's like the financials, but the bigger vision is now I get to sit down for Christmas and open presents with my kids.
Yeah, that
You
is
know?
amazing. Because UPS, I imagine you're like working even during the holidays. That's the busiest time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now they've got them working on Saturdays. So I'm seeing them out here on Saturdays. I'm glad I jumped.
Oh yeah, even like if Amazon's even worse, like I see them on Sundays.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, it's interesting. When I was at UPS years ago, we heard through the grapevine that Amazon wanted to buy UPS, and we were like,
Really?
"What?" Yeah, we were like, "Whatever. That's never gonna happen. We're
That's a
way bigger than
monopoly. That's
Amazon."
against the law, really.
Yeah. Well, since we said no, look at them. They were like, "Cool. We'll just build our own," and they're basically building their own UPS right now. It's insane.
Good goodness.
Hmm.
That's amazing. So you think like, do you have to have like an outgoing personality to be a real estate agent, or can you be an introvert?
Yeah, 100%. So we have people on the team who have you ever taken the disc profile?
Oh yeah, yeah, the Tony Robbins one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love
So
Tony Robbins. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so the S and the C usually, not all the time, usually do really well in more of a supportive admin position. And a licensed supportive admin position, they make more than somebody who's not licensed on a team because they are able to do way more than somebody without a license. And you'll see those high SCs. Matter of fact, I had a text from one of our agents this morning wanting to expand out of the team and offer that to other agents outside the team and maybe even other firms. And we're like, cool, go for it.
Hmm.
So you could build a big business being an introvert in real estate, 100%.
Oh, go great. So what firm do you work for? Like what real estate firm, or are you on your own?
No, so I started at Coldwell Banker. I was there for like 6 months. They wouldn't allow me to brand myself, and that's important. So I was like, peace. So I left, and then I went to Keller Williams, and I was there for 4 or 5 years. Actually ended up becoming the CEO of that office, and we did really good. But since it just started getting a little weird, so I left there and went to a company called EXP. EXP Realty, and they are different. It's a virtual brokerage, no franchise fees, no borders, no nothing. You can expand fast. And that's why I mentioned I've only been here for 3 years and we have 170 agents right now.
So after you get your license and you pay the $600, like how long can you expect to get a job? Does it happen? Is it easy to get a job right with being a new rookie? Would you say?
That's a great question. So it's different. It's flipped. So it's not you interviewing to see if they'll take you on. Now that happens for sure. But more often than not, you're interviewing them to see if you want to hang your license with them. And actually on my YouTube, I think it's 12 questions, 12 questions you should ask before joining a firm. And that exposes that firm. So when you sit down with a firm, you're not getting hired. It won't be a W-2 position. It will be a 1099. You will
Mm-hmm.
be a contractor. And so you work with that company. You do not work for that company. And because of that, the only way they get paid is when you get paid, when you when you make a commission. So really that agent is sitting down and asking that firm, what type of value do you have to offer me? Now I've got value. I'm going to show up here every day. If they're brand new, I'm going to show up every day. I'm going to go to your trainings. I'm going to do what you tell me to do. I'm here. I'm hungry. Now what value can you give me? Because they can bring that hunger to a different firm, and
Mm-hmm.
most firms don't want that. They're like, oh, well, we'll give you this, and we've got this type of training. So it's different. It's not like you're interviewing for a job. Really, you're interviewing for which firm you want to participate with, not the other way around.
Oh, I really love that. And that's the same case with any job because if you think about you interviewing with them like they're like you're trying to interview to see how they are. That's a lot better because that kind of makes you seem less the word where like less eager, I would say, because you don't want to hire someone that's desperate for a job. But if you go in there thinking, oh, I want to like interview them to make sure they're the right fit for me, and you just come across more confident, and you just and you're that way you're projecting yourself with confidence. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. So that's why it's different. And a lot of newer agents, to go back to your questions, don't know that. Like me, that's why I started at Coldwell Banker immediately. I didn't know what questions to ask. I just thought it was really cool to have a Coldwell Banker badge. Like that was it. I made
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then reality hits and you realize, oh, I'm growing a business and we're not being taught, not saying Coldwell Banker didn't do this, just the industry doesn't necessarily teach you how to grow a business. They teach you how to pass a test and it gets real quick. And so yeah, you do have the power as an agent to decide which firm you want to go to. And matter of fact, if you're at a firm and they lied to you for whatever reason, you could leave. There's not a contract. Well, some do contracts, majority don't do contracts, and you can leave and try your feet in another firm.
Oh, yeah, yes, that's like a great point there because you're actually an entrepreneur. A lot of people don't know this, but real estate agents are entrepreneurs because
Yep,
they're actually working for themselves. They're not getting paid a salary. They
that's
don't
right.
have to work hour for hour. They get to set their own hours. It's a very flexible job. So this is a
Yep.
great job idea if you're like a mom and you're just not getting to spend much time for your kid, or you're a single father or even a married father. You just don't have enough time for your kid, and this way you can just get your feet wet and grow in a business. Then on the side, like Ruben does, you can invest in real estate and Airbnbs, and also didn't you say you had an RV where you took like an RV trip?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. And just to touch on that point real quick, for the single mom or the single parent or the one who's doing dually careered like I did, you don't necessarily even have to go help people buy and sell. You could just you just like Becky, if you were an agent and I'm an agent and I get my best friend who wants to buy a home, but I can't because I'm so busy with everything else, but I got my real estate license, I can pass that lead to you and say, hey Becky, I would love a 30% referral fee or a 25% referral fee for when this deal closes. Becky goes out there, shows the home, does all the negotiating, gets it under contract, back into negotiations, and then they fix all that and they make it a closing. They close on the deal, and then I would get paid 30% off the top. So you can make money without ever going in the field ever and build more of a referral based business. So if you're tight on time, I mean, you can still make this work. There's a lot of ways to make real estate work in your favor. So there's that. And then with the RV, yes. So since we've done decently well with the Airbnbs, we said, man, the pandemic has really showed us that people want to get into RVs.
Mm-hmm.
RV prices got really high, and we're like, well, if we buy an RV, then we can rent it out. And so that's what we do. So we have other people who rent our RV out. Just got back from New York, and I think it's going back to the beach this Friday. So it does. It travels. It goes all over the place, and people rent it out, and we get paid. But when we get paid, we don't see it. We dump everything on the principal right now because we bought a brand new unit. Once it's paid off, perfect. But right now, we literally don't see a dime of it. It all goes on to the principal.
That is like so interesting because I didn't know that you actually rent out your own RV. So you bought it for the purpose of just renting it out like that. That is like so like inspiring. I just can't believe that you're even doing that. Like I have not heard anybody do that before.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's what's great as well, because not a lot of people do it, which that limits the market, right? And that gives us a competitive edge in front of others. And when people do start catching on, then we've already stepped so far ahead and learned so much, and the market already recognizes us as being the RV renter people. Then that's great. And for anyone who's listening, maybe that's the same thing in your market.
Oh yeah, because are you going to build a business and actually get more RVs? Is it if it becomes profitable?
Sure can. That's right. And we've documented the process on my YouTube. If anybody wants to see, like, when we purchased it, what did we buy up front? What are the numbers? Like, we kind of documented the whole thing as well, just to kind of be very transparent with how do you get this started and what are the downfalls.
Oh yeah, I'll make sure to link to Ruben's YouTube in the show notes. So Ruben, like, any last words? Like, what do you want the viewer to leave with, or the listener to leave with?
I just want y'all to know that you have choices. You have choices. You're not stuck. You're only as stuck as you believe you're stuck. You've got choices, and you've got people like us that want to help you succeed. You just have to be willing to stick your hand up for help, right? Just ask for the help, get involved. And I will say, once you've asked for the help, and there is some guidance given from one of us, take action on it. Because if you don't, eventually that becomes the reputation of yourself. And then what's the point of helping someone who doesn't want to help themselves? There's a yes and no rule out there. If I say yes to Becky because she wants to work and really show up, I say no to the person who doesn't at the same time. Just as much as I'm saying yes to this podcast and no to my family right now, right? There's always that, right?
Yeah.
And then once I get off here, I say yes to my family and no to, so there's always that balance. But just know that you have a choice. You are not stuck. You could do whatever you desire to do, but just take action. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and we got you.
Oh, that is such great advice, because like a lot of times people will even take courses and spend all kinds of money on courses, and they'll never do any action steps. Because if you don't take action on what you learn, then you're not going to, apply anything to yourself. You're not going to grow your business. You're just going to be stuck in the mud. Because I actually make courses myself, and you don't believe how many people do not even take them or even open them.
Yeah.
If they buy them, so I just hate that.
Well, some people say, why do you share all of everything? Because I'm pretty transparent of like how we've built something. This is the systems behind. I'm like, because probably 5% of that group will actually take action. I mean, it doesn't matter, who you tell it to. It's a very small majority who will actually take action. So what am I really doing? I'm just sharing, and whoever can grab on will grab on. But unfortunately, most don't.
Oh yeah, you're so right. Like maybe like 5 or 1% listening to this video, and if they're stuck in a job they hate, and they don't know what to do, but they really like real estate, like a lot of them will not listen and take action to what you just said, and maybe not get their license or even invest in real estate. It just happens, just depending on circumstances.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, well, hopefully, if you're listening, you can visit the show notes. And we'll have all Ruben's information, like how you can get in touch with him, his YouTube, and get everything that he gives me. So I hope you enjoyed this episode today. Thanks so much for being on the show today, Ruben.
Thank you for bringing me on. Thank you for chatting with me at FinCon. Thanks for bringing value at FinCon. She sat on a panel and killed it. So thank you for all you do.
Great, too. Yeah. So make sure you go to mombeach.com/show notes to see everything Ruben has for you. Well, have a great day. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Becky Beach Show. Please go to mombeach.com/podcast to learn more about my podcast and for show notes. If you want a 2022 free printable goal planner, please go to mombeach.com/subscribe. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have a great day. Goodbye.